The very first Chinese word you learned was probably 你好. Maybe your 你好 sounds great. Maybe you already know the famous third tone Sandy rule. When two third tones come together, the first one changes. But then you meet other third tone words, and suddenly you hesitate. Should this third tone change or not? In this video, we're going to make that decision automatic. In a few minutes, you will build the right muscle memory for the third tone, and then we'll practice the third tone combinations with the other tones. When you first learn Mandarin tones, the third tone often feels like the hardest one. One reason is that English doesn't really have this kind of tone movement built into every syllable. Try it with the English word what. First tone high and flat. What? Second tone rising. What? Fourth tone falling. What? Neutral tone short and light. What? But the third tone has a turn in it. What? That feels awkward if your ear is trained by English. There is another problem. The written tone mark can be misleading. The third tone mark looks like a little check mark. So when learners say it, they often try to pronounce the whole fall and rise shape like this, 我. But in normal connected speech, a regular third tone is usually not pronounced as a full check mark. Most of the time, you only pronounce the first part, low, then a little lower, and short. That is the normal third tone in real Mandarin speech. Some textbooks call this the half third tone. So, when do we actually pronounce the full dipping third tone? Usually, only when the syllable stands alone, comes at the end of a sentence, or carries a strong emphasis. Then there is enough time and space for the full fall and rise. For example, if someone knocks on the door and asks, 谁呀? You can answer, 我. Or if someone asks, 晚上出去吃饭怎么样? You might answer with strong feeling, 好. Now let us make the rule simple. A normal third tone is low, short, and goes slightly down. Think of it as the half third tone. But when two third tones are next to each other, the first one changes into a rising tone. It sounds very close to the second tone, but it does not need to rise quite as high. The second third tone stays low and short. Here are the three standard rules. Rule 1. If a third tone syllable is followed by a non-third tone, pronounce it as a half third tone. Rule 2. If a third tone syllable is followed by another third tone, the first one changes into a rising tone. Rule 3. If a third tone syllable is a long, sentence final, or strongly emphasized, you may pronounce the full dipping third tone. But for speaking practice, remember it this way. Most third tones are low, short, half third tones. When two third tones meet, change the first one into a rising tone. Now we will practice tone combinations. First, look at the pitch shape. Feel the movement. Memorize the cadence. Then read the words with the same rhythm. Do not overthink every word. Train the pattern until your mouth starts doing it automatically. Third tone plus first tone. You see the diagram? The third tone is going down a bit, and the first tone is flat, high, and longer. Sounds like da da. Then you read like this. 老师火车小说北京手机广州简单眼睛小猫火锅 Third tone plus second tone sounds like 打打可能旅游演员小时起床美国打球好人很忙语言 Third tone plus third tone. Remember, the first third tone rises. The second one stays low and short. Sounds like 打打 Read after me. 你好水果勇敢洗手老虎 老板，如果，可以，也许，想法。Third tone plus fourth tone sounds like 大，感谢，可爱，可是，礼貌，总是，搞笑，满意，想象，眼镜，理发。Third tone plus neutral tone sounds like 大大，姐姐，奶奶，嫂子，饺子，早上，晚上，我们，怎么，耳朵，狗狗。Practice these combinations for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. If you do this for a few days, you will notice that your third tone starts to change naturally. You will not need to stop and calculate every time. After two-syllable words feel comfortable, move on to longer phrases and sentences. The key is grouping. When you see 3, 4, or more third-tone syllables together, do not read them as one long chain. Break them into natural groups. For example, 买水果. Think of it as 买 plus 水果. Another example, 洗洗手. Think of it as 洗洗 plus 手. Now try a longer question. 你有几把雨伞? Break it into groups. 你有几把雨伞? Each group gives your mouth a smaller pattern to handle. Here is a small challenge. How would you read this sentence? 请你给我买5种好酒. First, divide it into groups. Then use your third tone muscle memory. That is your homework. In the next video, we'll talk about greetings in Mandarin. Do Chinese people really say 你好 to friends? And what should you say instead?